Murfreesboro Storytellers is next on City TV, and our story this month is about the Murfreesboro Symphony. Welcome to Murfreesboro Storytellers. This month we're pleased to tell you more about the Murfreesboro Symphony, and we have as our guest Joseph Lee, who is music director. Joseph, welcome.
Thank you.
And Phil Barnett, who is vice president of the board of directors.
Thank you.
Joseph Lee, you're relatively new to the Murfreesboro Symphony. How long have you been here, and tell me about your background?
Well, I'm in my second full season right now. I've actually been a Middle Tennessee resident since 1994. I moved to Middle Tennessee from North Alabama to attend Vanderbilt University's Blair School of Music, and I've been in Nashville ever since. That's been my home base. I currently am resident conductor of the Huntsville Symphony Orchestra. I direct the Huntsville Youth Orchestra. I also teach at Sewanee, direct the orchestra out there, and this is my second full season in Murfreesboro.
And what do you do in your spare time?
Not a lot of it.
Sound like you're a busy man.
That's right.
Well, very talented. We're very fortunate to have you.
Thank you, John.
And Phil is vice president of the board. What are your duties as a board member?
Our responsibility as a board member is to make sure that the symphony does well, that we have enough money and that we have enough community support to ensure that the symphony has another 31 years here in Murfreesboro.
How long have you been on the board?
I've been on the board now since last May.
Okay. Give us a little bit more information about the history of the Murfreesboro Symphony, that 31 years.
Well, the Murfreesboro Symphony has progressed over that time. I was not here 31 years ago, but it's my understanding that much of the symphony at that time were folks who were not paid professional musicians, that they're fine, wonderful people who were bringing a cultural event to our community. And since that time, now all of our musicians and Joseph and much of the supporting direct staff of the symphony itself are all paid professionals. And so it's brought a much higher level of quality, and this is a cultural gem for our community. It really separates us from a small town and gives us a real point of pride.
It certainly does. It really adds to the whole culture of the community. It makes it a complete community, if you will, doesn't it?
Absolutely. 31 years ago, Dr. Lawrence Harvin started the Murfreesboro Symphony Orchestra. It was a joint project between the community and also MTSU. Students were part of it, community members, and some paid professionals. And he conducted this orchestra for 26 years and did some really incredible work. And then another conductor came along named Jeffrey Reed after Dr. Harvin retired. And he was with us about almost 4 years, 3 seasons, I believe. And then, and 2 years ago, I took over. So I'm the third conductor in 31 years. That's not very many for a 31-year organization.
That says well for the symphony, I'd say.
Absolutely.
In regard to that.
And we're very fortunate to have Joseph, because Joseph brings a level of expertise and experience and enthusiasm to our symphony.
Where do you get those professional musicians that are part of the symphony?
That's a great question. Those musicians come from Middle Tennessee, North Alabama. Lots of people in the orchestra live in Murfreesboro, live in Rutherford County. We have players that drive up from Huntsville, some faculty members from Cookeville, and I'm really excited. In the last few years, we've gotten more MTSU faculty, music faculty involved in the orchestra. You know, MTSU music department is such an incredible musical gem, and just the fact that we've gotten more guest artists from that department, as well as some members of the orchestra. Our principal oboist is the Laura Ann Ross. She's the professor of oboe at MTSU, and we also have some grad students from MTSU that play in the orchestra, and they're phenomenal.
How many members does it take to make a full symphony, if you will?
Well, it depends on the repertoire. In the beginning of the year, we did some Stravinsky, Saint-Saëns, Debussy, and we had about just under 60 players on the stage. This past concert was Beethoven and Mozart, so you use a smaller orchestra. We didn't have the low brass, we didn't have most of the percussion, and we had about just under 50 on stage.
So 50 to 60 will be the usual complement.
That's the usual complement, yes.
How about funding? How do you fund the symphony?
Without the community, we would have no symphony. We get a small amount from Tennessee Arts Commission. We get some from the city of Murfreesboro. We have a number of other small grants that we go to, but frankly, without the support of the community, we would not have a symphony. We do 5 concerts a year. We do a couple of special things. We're at SportsCom for the 4th of July each year. But our concerts, which we have out at the Methodist Church, which is just acoustically amazing. I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful venue for the concert. Each one of those concerts, depending on the size, and as Joseph said, our last one had a few less people. The early ones had more people. But our concerts run anywhere from $16,000 to $25,000 per concert. And so if we're looking at a 5-concert season, you're talking about $125,000. Then we've got administrative costs, publicity costs, a list of overhead type costs. And so to put on a season, we have to raise $150,000 a year.
I'd say it's a minimum, I would assume.
Yes, yeah. And once we have that, then we'll be in a position to expand even more, because our objective is really twofold. Certainly we want to have this cultural icon for our community and a place where people can go and listen to high quality professional symphony and not have to go every time to Nashville to TPAC. But the other part of it that may even be more important is we want to have the ability to expose our youngsters throughout the school systems, throughout whatever walk of life they come from, into this type of music. We're going to be doing a family concert, and probably one of the coolest things about the whole family concert is the petting zoo. So if you aspired your whole life to be a tuba player and you weigh 45 pounds, this will be your first time to put a tuba on your shoulders and go, maybe I need a clarinet. Maybe this is just the wrong instrument for me. So it's an opportunity to expose youngsters to symphony quality music, to the instruments. They can actually talk to the artist. They can understand what does it take to be the concert maestro, what does it take to be the conductor, what did you go through when you went to Vanderbilt, and they can start to appreciate that, okay, I'm probably never going to be a great musician, but I certainly can be a great appreciator of the art.
Absolutely.
And they will then come to our concerts, and they will go to TPAC, and they will go to Huntsville, and they will go to other places, because this is a particular selection that I've not previously seen or heard.
And you never know what students are going to come to these concerts. I mean, my first exposure to a symphony orchestra was the Alabama Symphony, a young person's concert, you know, and I was very inspired, and it's something I wanted to pursue, and here we are.
And that's what led you into the profession then. You know,
Definitely.
Do you do anything specific with young people in the way of a youth symphony or anything of that type?
Well, the Murfreesboro Youth Orchestra is actually not affiliated with the Murfreesboro Symphony, but we've established a wonderful relationship with this group, their conductor, Sarah Beth Geith. We are this year going to do our 2nd annual family concert, and as part of that concert, the Murfreesboro Youth Orchestra comes, and they sit with us and play one piece side by side.
Wonderful.
We also have our 2nd annual this year, Emerging Artist Competition, where young musicians from Rutherford County can come and compete to play a concerto on that concert. And our winner this year is a young violinist who will be playing a movement of the Mozart's 3rd concerto. That'll happen on our family concert. So we're really excited about all of the educational opportunities that we are creating. I really have a huge goal to go back into the school systems and have young people's concerts again, youth concerts, so people can, the students can come to the church and experience this during the school day.
Phil mentioned the venue you have of the First United Methodist Church. That is a marvelous auditorium.
Incredible.
Isn't that great?
The first performance that Joseph put on this year had an organ solo, and when that lady hit the organ, oh my God! I mean, that church came alive. It was just the most beautiful sound you've ever heard in your life. Going back to the children, we do to some degree get out into the schools now, but the limitation, of course, is the funding, because if we send even a quartet of orchestra members out, we're obligated to pay them why they're out there. So we would like to be able to expand that program more. The Emerging Artist is a recognition opportunity. One of the additional things that we did this past season, which really turned out well, is the pre-concert. As people are arriving at the church, we have featured a number of the high schools in Murfreesboro who have been, last time was a musical group, we've had vocal groups, we've had arts groups from the Center from the Arts. We've had a number of local youth talent to be able to come out, play, and entertain folks prior to the actual start of the concert.
So they're performing as you're gathering for the regular concert?
Correct.
Right.
Excellent.
Yeah, it gives our audience a chance to see what these incredible school groups are doing.
Tell us about your coming season now and the schedule and the type of programs concerts you're going to have.
I'm happy to. In our 5 regular series subscription concerts, we're going to start out with a concert of Russian masters, great Russian music. We're going to start with the Rimsky-Korsakov Russian Easter Overture. We then go to the Tchaikovsky Violin Concerto, featuring our own concert master, Stefan Petrescu, who's the violin professor at Tennessee Tech. We will also, on that concert, do the incredible Pictures at an Exhibition, the Mussorgsky. It's a piece for piano by Mussorgsky, and it was orchestrated by Maurice Ravel, very famous work. The second concert I'm really excited about. It's a Veterans Day Pops concert.
November, no doubt.
In November, yes, and the first one's going to be in September. The Veterans Day Pops concert is going to feature a band from Birmingham called Act of Congress. Act of Congress is a folk pop group. They have a bluegrass instrumentation, but it's not bluegrass music. Young, hip, fun, great music. Sounds like America, just complete Americana. We'll also feature on that concert music by great American composers, Aaron Copland, Samuel Barber, and we'll have a really special tribute to our veterans at that concert as well.
Will that be actually on Veterans Day, or at least Veterans Week, I presume?
It'll be the weekend before Veterans Day.
Okay.
So I believe that falls on a Monday. Our concert will be on either Friday or Saturday. We're still working that out.
Weekend.
That's right. The holiday concert, that's a big favorite in Murfreesboro.
We packed the church for the holiday concert.
2 years, this year and last year, we had about 1,200 people at both of those concerts. We feature the Murfreesboro Symphony Chorus, which has been in existence now for 2 years. They've performed on last season and this season.
Do you direct them as well?
No, they're directed by a woman named Angela Tips. She's on the faculty at MTSU, incredible choir director. The chorus loves her, the orchestra loves her, and I do too. And we're going to do the Bach Magnificat at Christmas, selections from the Nutcracker. We do some really traditional things. We're going to have a guest singer come and do I'll Be Home for Christmas and Oh Holy Night and that sort of thing. But that's a fun concert, and already really looking forward to that. The 4th concert will take place in March. We're going to bring 2 Broadway singers down from New York City, and they've both been stars of the musical Wicked, which is extremely popular right now on Broadway and across the country. I'm not sure there's a 12-year-old out there that doesn't know the music from this show. And these singers are going to come down and perform with the orchestra. And then the last concert will be The Magic of Elgar. And we're going to perform the Elgar Cello Concerto on the first half and the Great Enigma Variations on the second half.
Is that April, May?
That's in April.
In April of next year, right. Wonderful. There's also one other concert I believe you do typically every year, and that's in July, isn't it?
Yes.
That's the outdoor 4th of July concert.
4th of July. It's so much fun. And we always do lots of patriotic music on that concert. Almost all music by American composers, and that's probably, I would say, not probably, it definitely is our biggest audience of the year.
That'll be at SportsCom.
At SportsCom.
I've seen that transition from Old Ford Park to MTSU campus, one year even in the football stadium, and now out at SportsCom, which is a great location.
Oh, it's a great venue, plenty of space for everybody. The sound is always really terrific out there.
Maybe we won't have it rain next year.
I hope not. I hope not. We also have this coming season our 3rd annual family concert, and we'll have more information about that.
Now, is that in addition to the ones you've already mentioned?
That's in addition to.
When does that typically occur?
It depends. This year it's happening in 2013. It's in April. And then in 2012, we had it in January. And right now, we're looking at December of 2013 for next season.
Who decides on the artists that you are featuring, the composers that you're featuring? Who decides on the program? Is that you as a director?
Well, as music director, I certainly recommend programs, and we have a programming committee on the board that's made up of a few board members, and then we sit down and talk through, and they give feedback, and depending on the feedback, sometimes I'll make some changes, sometimes not, and then the board votes on the final presentation, which is a collaboration between me and also the programming committee.
We rely so heavily on Joseph's expertise. I mean, not only he is a fantastic director and has this unbelievable ability to select the right pieces for our community and the facility and the talent that he has in the orchestra, but he also works very closely with the board and is very mindful of the fact that it costs a lot of money. And I mean, it's a significant difference between 50 and 60 pieces when you talk about an orchestra. And so I think probably from a board perspective, not only do I really enjoy the concerts and all of the talent that shows up on stage each time, but what I really enjoy is working with Joseph, because he has a sense of business and an understanding that we want to do the absolute finest concert we can, but we also have to be really mindful of what it costs.
Thanks, Phil.
Absolutely. How do you get a ticket, or do you buy a season's ticket? How does it work as far as admission to the concert schedule?
The tickets themselves, you can certainly buy season tickets at the end of each season throughout the entire season. You can buy a prorated ticket up till the last concert, and that's actually going to be your best bet. You get a little bit off if you buy the complete season. We have $10 seats. We have $25 seats, and we have $40 seats. The $40 seats are the season tickets, but they can also be an individual ticket based on whatever number of those that are remaining. We have an office here in town in the SunTrust building, and you can go there personally, or you can call the phone number and order your tickets that way. We'll come out to your house. We'll be happy to make sure that you get a ticket.
Absolutely.
As I recall from looking at your schedule, you typically schedule a dinner somewhere in one of the restaurants in Murfreesboro that a person could go to the dinner there and then on to the concert. Is that arranged by the symphony as well?
It is. That's actually not something I've been attending, because I usually try to get to the church and, you know, get in the right frame of mind and that sort of thing. But I understand we do have pre-concert dinners, and you can participate in that through the symphony. And it's a bit of a fundraiser for us too.
Okay.
This is an incredible community that is very, very civic-minded, as you well know. I mean, there's probably nobody in this town that isn't involved in some charity, that hasn't given to their own charity, plus another 200 charities. And each time we do a dinner, that dinner is to some degree underwritten by the restaurant where the dinner takes place. And so not only do we have the opportunity for folks to eat before the concert, but also a little bit of that money comes back to us. The other thing that we do for the season ticket holders is there's an after concert party, which is usually held in a beautiful home here in Murfreesboro, and that's an opportunity not only to meet and be with some of the folks that you see 5 times a year at the symphony, but probably the neatest thing about it is it's an opportunity to actually see the artist and talk to them about the concerts and get to know the artist on a one-on-one basis. It's a very comfortable, enjoyable after time to enjoy what we have.
And the musicians love to come to these parties too. I would say a quarter of the orchestra musicians come, and they want to get to know who the sponsors are and season ticket holders.
That's great. Great opportunity for everyone to get acquainted, as well as the special guest artists that you have.
Absolutely.
The symphony has been in operation, what we say, 31 years. What would be your greatest need other than additional funding? What would be your greatest need for the future as you think about it? Any particular thing that comes to mind?
Yes, civic awareness. Just people being aware that we exist. People understanding that the Murfreesboro Symphony, we do not exist for ourselves. We exist for our community. We bring an extraordinary cultural resource to the city. We are not, my goal is we need to get the music out of the museum, out from behind glass, off of the pedestal and into the hands of everybody in the city. You know, the music, it's art, it's meant for everyone. I want to break down barriers, and I want everyone to understand there's something on the season for you. There's something on the season for everybody, and we're not an elite group of people that are just performing as a hobby.
I run into people every week, and I can honestly say every week, who love symphony, who have an appreciation for symphony orchestra, and who want to make sure that either themselves or their family are exposed to symphony, and so they go to TPAC. And when I say to them, TPAC's fantastic, wouldn't want to undersell that for a minute. I enjoy it myself.
Sure.
But do you know there's a Murfreesboro Symphony Orchestra? And they go, where?
My word.
You know, we've been here for 31 years, and there's still a significant population that has no idea that we're here. So, I mean, as a board, probably our #1 goal is to try and get 125,000 people to understand that there is a brilliant symphony orchestra right here in Murfreesboro.
Certainly is, and hopefully this program will help more people be aware of the symphony, what you're doing.
We appreciate that.
And what a fine variety of music that you are offering for the coming season, as you do each year.
Well, thank you, John.
Something for everyone, I think.
You know, I think that's really important. My goal is to create programs that inspire, challenge, and educate. And, you know, I personally believe there's going to be something on every program for everybody. But even if Mozart and Beethoven aren't your favorite composers, you know, we have Dvorak coming up, we have Broadway coming up, we have the Veterans Day Pops.
The level of excitement that you can just feel building inside that church, and then as people are going out, and I mean they're just talking about it. Now, if there were back-to-back concerts at $200 a ticket, people would be buying tickets to get to that second concert. I mean, they are pumped up when they leave the symphony.
Absolutely.
So you're saying ICE, Inspire, Challenge, and Educate.
Hey,
ICE.
I like
give you
that.
an acronym.
We'll use that.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Tell me what it takes to get prepared for conducting a concert. What do you do to get your mindset just right and your body ready to go? How difficult is it to get ready?
You know, getting ready for a concert actually for me starts months before the concert. I am a very busy guy working in music, very blessed, and as a result of that, I have not a lot of time to study. So when I have to designate time in my schedule to study. I study a lot of scores over the summer during breaks, between concerts and festivals, and I'll spend time with the score and learn it as best I can, and then keep brushing up on it over the months. And I have a little library in my house where I keep the scores that are coming up. So I keep everything in order. I keep what's coming up out on my desk, and whenever I get a chance, I'll spend time with it. And then when the concert is coming up, maybe a week or two away, I go back to summer mode where I spend a lot of time with the score. And by the time I get with the orchestra, it's my goal to be as comfortable with the music as possible, to know where all the challenges will lie. And then we go into rehearsal mode, which for me is a ton of fun. I mean, the journey is most of the enjoyment. You know, the concerts are always great, but the journey getting there, and the relationship that I have with the orchestra and vice versa, we have a lot of fun together, and
that's good.
And we work really hard. We all do.
How much rehearsal time does it require for a typical concert?
Well, it depends on the repertoire, and actually, when I came, the Murfreesboro Symphony was having 3 rehearsals for every concert, regardless of the repertoire. Okay. And but what I've done is I've taken the concerts and I've broken that down to, you know, some concerts require 4 or 3 rehearsals, some require 2 or 1, and that's been actually a big help, because I'm able to have more rehearsal for the ones that really need it, and then the ones that don't, we can have 1 rehearsal and be ready.
And conversely, what does a symphony director do in his spare time?
Well,
how does he have fun?
He thinks about the next season.
Sure. I love to travel. I have a little French bulldog that I like to spend time with. You know, friends and family. I like to read. spend time on my iPad, which I try not to do very often. But what else do I do?
Now, do you play an instrument yourself?
I do. I play bassoon. I was a bassoon major in college.
Okay.
I also play contrabassoon, and I have some background in cello and trumpet as well.
Do you ever play in one of the concerts as a director?
No, not in Murfreesboro, but
Okay.
actually this current week I'm playing contrabassoon down in Huntsville.
Oh, are you?
I am.
How do your programs in Huntsville compare to up here as far as the type of music you do for Huntsville? I think about a very engineering society down there and a little different type of society or community than we have here even. Does that affect your music?
You know, the concerts are very similar. In Murfreesboro, in Huntsville, we have about 15 concerts a year. There's a classical series, pop series. But what I do here is very similar to that. We just do it on a little bit smaller scale. We have 5 concerts a year, 7 events total, but 5 subscription concerts. And I just make sure we have some of the great composers. I make sure we have a good mix of pops in there because everybody enjoys that.
Sure.
And we don't want to create an environment where people don't feel like it's accessible. You know, and something I also try to do is before each piece I want to tell just a little bit about it. Sometimes the music speaks for itself and I don't need to talk, but I love to give members of the audience that maybe have never heard of a particular composer a little tidbit of information about the music, about the person, so they can sort of grab onto it and learn to really appreciate what they're hearing.
Phil, any activities that the board is engaged in we haven't touched on, or anything you hope to
I
be
mean,
doing?
right now the board is actively involved in our annual Friends of the Symphony fundraiser. We're trying to put money in the bank for next year so that we can turn our attention to making sure that the concerts take place and then hopefully look to expand the educational initiatives. But probably the biggest thing that we do on the board is try and get the word out, make people aware of the symphony, get folks to the symphony, because once we've got them in the door, we've got them hooked. They're going to love the symphony. And then, you know, we love big donors, but the small donors are the people who really make our work possible.
Sure.
Adds up.
Friends of the Symphony fundraiser, is that an event coming up that you're talking
That's an
about?
ongoing event.
Oh, year-round.
And again, through our website or through the office, I'll be more than happy to come out and talk to anyone.
All right. The website for the Murfreesboro Symphony, give us the address, how do folks get more information? You are on the web.
MurfreesboroSymphony.com.
MurfreesboroSymphony.com. All right.
All spelled out.
And your office is in the SunTrust Bank building.
In the basement of the SunTrust building.
Right. And your first concert for 2013 will be in September.
September.
Yes, sir.
Right. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us.
Our
Telling
pleasure.
us about the Murfreesboro Symphony.
Come to the symphony.
Absolutely. Joseph Lee, who is the music director, and Phil Barnett, who is vice president of the board of directors. Good luck, gentlemen. Happy success for the coming season for your Murfreesboro Symphony.
Thank you so
John.
much.
Thank you.